All right, we are live on YouTube. I'm just waiting on that video to connect on my other screen over here so that I can grab that link and put it inside of our free business mastermind group so that our members can join us here easily and conveniently on the live YouTube. Okay, it looks like that link is ready, so let me grab it. Grab it. Okay, I got that. So let me put this in the group and post that. Now I'm giving you a chance to post and cycle through. Great. Now I want to go back to the YouTube live so that I can see the live chat so that anybody that is watching us live can interact with us on the live chat and I can see it and respond back. All right. Great. I think that we are ready to get started. Do you ever feel like your potential clients don't feel connected to your brand? Feel like when you share value, information, and content that you're talking into the void instead of to other people. Today, we're answering the question, how do I get potential clients to be more connected and responsive as I sell my offer? Okay. We're talking about live selling through engagement, and it's coming from this week's blog. Jump on the trend of live selling for increased revenue. You can follow along by going to shaycannon.com /live. That's shaycannon.com /live. So again, what we're doing with the morning show is we are predicted and planned to end our live broadcast the week of Thanksgiving. So what we're doing is making sure that we can use past episodes of this morning show, the replays, as kind of a resource that when you have a problem with your business growth, there's a show out there that can help you to solve that problem. So between now and Thanksgiving, I'm thinking of things we have not talked about that can fulfill the goal of being a resource for you. Today's and this week's show is about live selling. Now, live selling is not anything new to service based businesses. We do it when we have webinars and challenges and summits and conferences, but the new way of live selling is more like taking advantage of like a HSN and a QVC type live selling. It's more exciting. It's more in the moment. It feels more, I don't know, live, entertaining, what is it, engaging. So we talked about education, live selling by giving value. Okay. I even gave you 10 strategies that go beyond the regular webinars and challenges and stuff so that you can start live selling and educating in a way that will get and hold attention. So that if you want to know about that and get those 10 strategies, go back to part one from Monday. Hey, Tracy, we got Tracy Power over here on the YouTube live. Then on Tuesday, which was yesterday, was part two. And we talked about taking that education a step further and making it edutainment. Okay. We're giving them some value, but we're doing it in an entertaining way. And this is definitely going to keep their attention and get them to the pitch of the offer so that we can live sell successfully. You want those 10 strategies? Go back to yesterday's replay. That was part two. Today is part three, and we're talking about live selling with engagement. Okay. The difference between today's topic and the other two we've talked about this week is we're bringing the audience in live. Okay. We're engaging and interacting live. Okay. So let's get into it. Live selling with engagement. When you engage directly with your audience in a live session, something shifts. They stop being passive watchers and start feeling like they matter. Client engagement means creating moments in which your audience sees you respond to them. You get to hear their voices or they hear your voice, live interaction. It feels like their questions are getting answered and their concerns are taken seriously. That builds a connection and trust very quickly. Live selling is one step above video in efficiency and effectiveness, and one step below in person. So when you need to build that like, know, and trust, live engagement, even if it's virtual, is great. Okay, so this is a live selling technique that's going to really get the people going. So service-based entrepreneurs aiming for increased sales are often looking to move someone from interest into a buying decision. The greatest tool for success is connection. Engagement gives your work a face and your brand a heartbeat. When people feel seen and heard, they remember who you are and they are more likely to believe in your capability and invest in your services. Okay? Now, that's what's in the blog, but you know, here on the morning show, we give you more, so we go beyond the blog. So today I have 10 strategies for creating live selling events that have engagement, or selling events through engagement. Okay. So let's go through these 10. Number one, this is an easy one. Y'all have heard this before. You know how to do this. You don't need no more information, but you can live sell through a Q&A or an Ask Me Anything. They call that an AMA. Okay, so a Q&A or an AMA, where you basically open up a block of time for live questions from the audience, answer them in detail, and use them as teachable moments that also let people feel heard. So they get to ask you anything. They get to ask you a question, and then live you answer the question, and then of course at the end of the Q&A session, the AMA session, you live pitch your offer. Okay, all of this engagement ends in you live pitching your offer. Okay, can't forget that we're live selling. We're not just live engaging, we're live engaging so that we can more successfully live sell. That was number one, live Q&A or AMA. Number two, concept matching. Okay, I'm sorry, mapping, concept mapping. So after teaching some type of concept, you're going to ask the live audience to then imagine themselves taking the steps in the concept that you have shown, right? Using their particular strengths, weaknesses, their scenario, whatever. And then you're going to help them to mentally walk through the concept, and you're going to help them overcome obstacles in doing so. You're going to do it live. Okay. So we kind of do that every morning, do we not? I present a concept, and then we go live one by one, where you have to imagine yourself in the concept, using it. Will you have any obstacles to it? And then you get this answers right now as you're thinking about yourself using the concept that has been presented. Okay, concept mapping. Number three, real time. I would I would do this if it were me type of thing. Okay. Now, let me tell you, one of my mentors, and former coaches, Lamar Tyler of TSP, Traffic Sales and Profit, started a series called If I Had Your Business, How Would I Make Money? Right. So basically, as a business coach, he's going to take what your business is, and he's going to say, if he was the CEO of your business, this is what he would do to grow that business to 6 figures, 7 figures, and beyond. All right. You can kind of do the same about your service. So as you listen to an audience member walk through a problem or a scenario, then you say, okay, if I were in your shoes, here's exactly what I would do next to solve the problem. Okay. And you're solving the issue in real time. Cool beans. Next, you can do a live peer review kind of collaboration, right? So if you are the type of person that when you go live, you kind of have a core audience that shows up, then you have people that show up that can kind of collaborate together, and everybody helps out in solving the problem. All right. I've done workshops like that before, where I taught what the method was. We then had a work session, and then we came back the next day where everybody peer reviewed each other's application of what I taught. Okay. You can kind of do that live. Teach a concept, let somebody tell you what they would do, and then let the audience decide if that seems like it would hit their goal. All right. Now, the next, I'm going to say about 8 to 9. What is this? The next few, almost all the way to the end, all the way out to number 10, are going to be different ways of coaching live. Okay. Coaching somebody through a service and a problem live. This is different ways. Number one, let's go straight to it. Hot seat live coaching. Okay. Hot seat live coaching. If you're not a person who has been coached before, you may not be familiar with the term hot seat. But basically what the hot seat is when somebody is got a spotlight on them and it's all about whatever their problem is. And so they have to be transparent enough and vulnerable enough to explain what's going on. And then they get live coaching, but they're in the quote unquote hot seat, in case you didn't know. So we're going to do that live. So pick one attendee or audience member, coach them live on a challenge. As you work with them, the rest of the audience gets to see how you think, how you use your methodology, what your style is, and how you handle objections and pivots and problems in real time. Okay, so that's a basic hot seat live coaching. Now, the next one is going to be a fix this type of thing. So where you're going to invite people to send small problems or pain points to you. They can send them to you via text. They can send it to you via voice, like a call in or a chat, or maybe they fill out a short little form, but you're getting it live. Like you have not previewed these pain points and these problems. So they send it to you in whatever kind of way you want them to send it to you. And then you pick some from the audience and you now do a rapid fix and review right on the spot. Okay. So when they send you the problem, you are going to fix it live. Okay. And it shows that you're responsive and willing to lean in on actual issues, not just the things that you sell. Okay. Number 7, live critiques. Now, this is the one that I had Keith Montgomery, our professional graphic designer, resident professional graphic designer, in mind when I wrote this one down. Okay, so it's called live critiques. Okay, live critiques. So you can choose audience members to give you their item, whatever it is, to be critiqued. Share your screen so that everyone sees what you see, then go through it live and give a critique of the things you would change, the things you would eliminate, and the things you would add to solve the problem or make it better. Okay? Now, again, Keith can do this very easily with graphics. We know that people are on Canva with their ugly amateur graphics, and so he can do logo critiques every Thursday or every second Thursday of the month, right? Where people show them their logos live, and he goes through and say, "This is how I would make it better." He may even use that time to live create a new logo that looks better. Okay, so Shawana Kennedy Media can also do this. All she would have to do is say, "Hey, I'm doing live critiques of your video content and your video visibility." Come in live. They might give her links to a certain platform, and she goes through and she says, "Hey, you got a few videos, but this is what you could have done better," right? Dr. LaFera, you can also do this kind of live critique thing. If it is, you know, we can kind of do a little light diagnosis where they kind of tell you what's going on, and you can tell them what conversations to have with their doctor live with your disclaimer that I am not your professional, your personal doctor, and I can't give you medical, true professional medical advice without an examination. However, take this information to your doctor and have the conversation with them, right? So you could do that live. Kimberly, with your foot care products, right? Again, we told you over and over again, you could take people questions about things going on with their feet. Not that you are a podiatrist, but things that maybe they have dry feet. Like we gonna put some barriers and some bumper guards on this bowling alley, because you can't answer all health questions about feet. But you can say, "Hey, these are some of the things that you can do that my product does. How often you need to help it? Maybe some things that will help you in addition to my product." For example, some people can put the product on and maybe a warm towel to help it to absorb better. Do you get in the shower and then before you towel off completely, you put it on? Like, help them kind of like that. How to use your product better, not a medical situation. Okay. Cool beans. So that's how you guys can do it. I have seen this done with web developers where they say, let me see your website and I'll tell you what I would change about it. I've seen this done with sales coaches where they like, "Give me your pitch, your sales pitch, and then we're live. We're going to make it better." So whatever you're an expert at, that they can share with you what they got live, and you can tell them how to make it better and solve some problems live. That's what this live critique is about. All right. Great. Number 8, live mistake confession and course correction. Okay. I like this. This is still live hot seat coaching, but it's different, right? So, what you're going to do is you're going to share a scenario around like a mistake or how people have misapplied solutions so they didn't solve the problem. Then you're going to ask the people in the audience to self identify if they've made this mistake, right? And when they raise their hand, when they say me, whatever, you pick one of them and you help them to walk through and solve the issue. So again, it's going to take that vulnerability, and we're going to add in some teaching, and what that's going to do is build a lot of deep rapport between you and them. And of course, at the end, we're going to sell the long-term solution, which is the offer. Excuse me. Number 9, live audience member case study. I love this one. It is hugely effective when I've seen it done. Okay. So this is, as you teach, you share a live audience member scenario, have them to tell their story, ask them questions about the process and journey of getting to the solution, and then allow the audience to ask you and them questions about processes to the getting them to the solution, right? So let me tell you how this goes a step further from a testimonial. It's basically what it is. It's a live in action of a testimonial. So either you have scheduled that person to be there, or you just have a core amount of people that show up when you go live that you can pick any one of them. When I do this morning show, there's always somebody in studio that I can use for a case study scenario, right? So how I would do this is I can say, okay, I teach a concept, and then I say, all right, Shawana Kennedy has solved this problem before. Shawana's problem was this, and how we solved it was that. Shawana, talk a little about what you were going through, what some of your obstacles were. Tell us your mindset during the thing, when you had the problem. Tell us about after the transformation, how was life different, right? And then, I can have the audience ask questions. At the end, I'm going to sell the offer that helped her to solve the problem. This is highly effective. Everybody needs to find a way to do this one. Okay, cool. So that was live audience member case study. Last but not least is number 10, live client or client panel interviews. So either you're going to interview one client or similarly situated or different situated clients on a panel. And so what you're going to do is you're going to bring on a real client, either current or past. You're going to speak to them live. We're always going to talk to them around the pain points and problems that we solve with our offer. We're going to talk to them about what it was like to work with us. Okay, kind of like the live case study. We're going to talk to them about some of the things that were obstacles for them. We're going to talk about how they had to utilize the solution maybe a little differently. But we're having these conversations so that more people can see themselves getting the solution from us. Okay, then we can let the audience ask them direct questions. This builds connection by letting people hear someone just like them talk with you about the problem they had and now the solution they get to live with and the transformation they get to live with. Okay, so those were our 10 strategies. Let me give y'all the questions for today. It's 2 of them. We went back to the 2 questions because some of you do some engagement, and so I want to talk about that so we can see if we cannot turn that into a live selling engagement. So okay, so Facebook is doing that thing where I have to cut my questions in half. So let me add the one question and then the other over here. I said Facebook, but I meant YouTube. My bad. Okay, so YouTube, damn it, that was wrong. Hold on, YouTube. I did a copy instead of a paste, which made it the same length. Okay. Uh, Let me give y'all that question, and then YouTube, the second question is this one. Dr. Latoya, good morning over here on the YouTube. We missed you. Then we have somebody living the life 04. They say, I own a wedding rental company. How can I do this? It's such a great question. we'll come back to you on that. All right. But the questions are, what live engagement strategies do you currently use? Just anything you use to do live engagement, even if you're not selling at the end. I want to know, how are you doing live engagement right now? Okay. And then the second part of the second question is, which two strategies from today, through engagement opportunities, could you use to live sell and make more money? Okay. So those are the questions. As you know, I'm going to go back and recap our 10 strategies without all the extra. When I come back, I'm going to start with Keith if he wants to come off the mic. If not, he can use the chat. If he wants to use the chat, I'll start with Dr. LaFera. All right, 10 strategies for creating live selling events through engagement. All right, number one, a live Q&A or an Ask Me Anything. All right, number two, concept mapping. And in this one, you have to present and teach the concept first. Then everybody present, you have them walk themselves through the concept so that you can help them with any problems they would have in applying it. Number three, real time. I would do this if I were you. Basically, you have someone present a scenario, present their business, present their feet, present their whatever that you give a service about, and then you take it and say, if I had that business, if I had those feet, if I had that whatever, this is how I will apply my service to get you to the goal of the transformation that my service does. Okay. Number four, live peer review collaboration. Have them put out a problem or a scenario and have everybody else give their input. Okay. Number five, hot seat live coaching. Focus the spotlight on one person. Let them give you whatever the problem is, and y'all solve it live. Okay. Number six, fix this audience call-ins. This is where live, they send you the problem in a different way. It could be via text, it could be a call, it could be a chat, it could be a quick online form, and then you pick from all the things that you've gotten, right? And you start explaining what the problem is, and you fix that live. Number seven, live critiques. I love live critiques. This works best when you have something visual that you can show so that people can visually see a before and after. But it also works with things that people are familiar with before and familiar with after. So fix this call-ins was one. Live critiques is what we just talked about. Number eight, live mistake confessions, and then course correction. So you give out a scenario. This could be something that a lot of people have a problem with. It could be something that a lot of people wish they had, whatever pain point. And then you ask who in the audience has that pain point, that problem. When they identify themselves, then you guys have the conversation about how to solve it one-on-one. All right. Number nine, live audience member case study. Again, if you've not had an audience for a long time and you don't know who's going to show up routinely, then this may be something that you have to schedule with the current or past client to have them to show up. And basically what you want to do is you want to talk about something, identify somebody in the audience that you already know has gotten a transformation or that has that problem, and you talk about what the scenario is. You have them talk about it from their perspective, and then you guys talk about the transformation. The audience gets to ask them questions. Number 10, last but not least, is either a live client, as in one client interview, or a live client panel, which is multiple clients on a panel interviewed, where you're going to interview them live. You're going to talk about their experience with the problem and the pain points and the solution that your offer gave them. You're going to let the the audience ask them questions so they can self-identify and say, hey, how did you do this? How did you deal with that? What about this? Let them ask their questions so they can further self-identify that your offer will also work for them. Pitch your offer at the end. All right. Keith said he's going to use the chat. So we're going to start with Dr. LaFera. After that, living life. When I go through everybody's answering the question, I'm going to give you some examples on how to use it for a wedding rental company. All right. I promise. So stick with us. All right. So let's go to Dr. LaFera. Dr. LaFera, What live engagement strategies do you currently use? And I know for a fact you use some good ones, even if you're not selling at the end. And which two strategies from today do you think will help you to live sell through engagement successfully?
Good morning. So I go live sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Um and out of your strategies,
Wait a minute. Hold up, hold up, hold up. So this is about more than going live, right?
yeah,
Do you go live and have engagement? So not
yeah,
just going live where you're a talking head, but you go live and you're engaging with people while you're live. You do that?
right. Yeah,
Okay. Can you give me some examples?
yeah. So I was thinking you wanted me to say out of your strategies,
Well,
but
that's the
like
second question. I want to know what you already doing first.
oh,
And
okay.
yeah.
So what I already do is I build storytelling into the live. I mean, I use Lamar's framework. So I build storytelling into it. I give something that I know they're struggling with as
Mhm.
what I'm going to teach them about. And then I may ask them things to see if they're paying attention or to like make them feel like, I care about like, which I guess I do because I want to know like where they're from and stuff like that. And like if they're having a particular issue, I'll, ask them to put that in the chat. And I may even address that issue and then I'll go back to the stuff that I was going to teach them on the live just to keep them like waiting, like when is she going to teach this?
Okay.
But I
I
do
like
want
that.
to hear what the other people are saying. And so like, and that also gives me information and gives them information. That's what I do currently. And then I put in like what I went live for, kind of like, well, I'm doing a challenge. And
Mhm.
I'll say that maybe 3 or 4 times, like, throughout and tell them what it's about and then go back to teaching what I said I was coming on to teach.
I like that. That's very interactive. And so all you would have to do is make sure that when you have those sessions, you pitch the offer at
Yeah.
the end. So I like that. So which two strategies from the ones that I gave today do you feel like will work effectively for you?
I like, well, I do like the number 7, you said the live critiques, where I tell them like the conversations that they can have with their doctor, like on the offer, because I do hear a lot of people, who even if they're problem aware, that's very frustrating to not, feel like you're listened to. And then when they get to me, it's like, well, all I have is what you, what you have, what you're giving me, but like I can give you more after I talk to you. So that would be good.
Mhm.
And I can show them through that merging like functional and like regular medicine. Like, so that's good. And so like number 1, which is a live Q&A. And then number
Mhm.
2 is what I wrote down with the content mapping and letting them walk themselves through a problem, because that's basically like that's health coaching. And for me,
Mhm.
a common thing I would do is to ask people like, well, tell me about like when you noticed this started, because to me that's important.
Yeah.
In terms of like me figuring out like why it's here and what I need to do as part of the strategy to help them fix it.
Mhm. I love it. All right. Thank you, Dr. LaFera. Lauren, all on the talk show in the background. All right. Let's go to Shawana Kennedy, Kennedy Media. What kind of live engagement strategies are you currently using, Shawana? Even if you're not selling at the end. And what two strategies from today do you feel like will allow you to use engagement to live sell more successfully?
One of the things that I've done is basically call people out, but not in a bad way. Show people that you actually recognize that they are there, because some people do need to hear their names, because we know some people don't like their voice. So they have to even get over that part. Like, so the roll calling. Um, I also do, I guess it's sort of kind of like a hot seat to ask the question, that type of thing, the asking questions. And then I may ask this, because you already know I do behind the scenes type of stuff, and you talked about that this week in different ways that I could potentially do the behind the scene type of thing. So currently doing that, also using, I don't know if it's considered UGC as in if I show behind the scenes, but I'm also showing what I'm doing and letting them know it's being done by way of Canva, so that for some of the people who are trying to do it themselves, they can see that it no, it may not look like mine or Keith, but however, it removes the excuse for them not doing anything for their
Mhm.
business or their brand. And I do like what you were saying, with the client interview, that panel you mentioned something about like a panel.
Mhm.
I do love that. I love that. Also, even me with more real time hot seats, because
Yes.
I need to figure out a way to do that more, because I think that'll be engaging for even the onlooker or listener, to because that'll make them think about things that they're doing. If I did more, more stuff like that, kind of like how you do us. You kind
Yeah.
of put us. I don't care how well we believe we are. You still can point out something like, okay, you might want to check. You might want to change that a little bit. So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what I see right away.
I love that. Okay, cool beans. Kimberly, if you gonna use the chat or if you're gonna come off the mic or you might still be in transit, just let us know. But Keith said he used live interviews via his clients to tell their success stories and presents case studies, which I will go back to because I realize I have plenty. Come on now, Keith. And then he said he wants to start using also live critiques, logos in real time. So, Keith, you can also critique. So, what we know, Keith, you as a professional graphic designer, what you know is professional graphic designs appear in more places than people actually think about. So you can actually critique graphics on websites. You can critique graphics on business cards. You can critique graphics in people's marketing materials. So you can critique graphics in a number of places. You don't have to limit it to logos. That's just quite easy to do, especially if you want to do a quick, I'm gonna make it better live. So you could do that too. But just start thinking about everywhere that graphics appear that you design for, you can critique that place. So I love that for you, Keith. All right, we got plenty of movement over here on the YouTube side, and I sure appreciate y'all. We have Tracy that said live engagements are happening through public speaking and concept mapping. I want to start using I would do this if I were you. That is so powerful. Yes, I like that. She says, I want to start using live critiques and mistake confessions. It will open up the conversation and show me a relatable and will build trust, show her as relatable and build trust and connectivity with the clients. Exactly. You getting it, Tracy. Dr. Latoya said, I do live Q&A, hot seat coaching, fix this audience call in. I have used audience member case studies, but I can definitely lean into this more, especially so it is way more powerful, Dr. Latoya, when that audience, when that client is in the audience and you can bring them up to talk about their experience and then people can ask them questions. I love that. Dr. Latoya also said, I would like to use live mistake confession. Um, Tracy also said, Dr. LaFera, congrats on your movie role, Dr. LaFera. All right, let me go back up because I promised Living the Life '04 says they have a wedding rental company and they want to know how they can use some of these ideas. Okay. Now, the funny thing is, this is an example of the if I had your business, what would I do? Live. Okay. So if I had a wedding rental business, I would definitely do a live ask me anything, right? So that brides to bees can come in and ask you anything about bridal planning and bride what they should rent, what they shouldn't rent, what they should look out for, and that type of thing. So I would definitely do the number one, which is the ask me anything. Okay. Number two, concept mapping. Okay, that what we understand. So I've been a bride. I've rented things for my fairy tale wedding, and so you can kind of map out the process of how to use some of the things that you rent. I don't know exactly what you rent, for weddings, but I'm going to give the example of, let's just say you rent out tables and chairs. Okay. You can do live mapping of bride to bees telling you how many guests they're expecting. Okay. And then you say, oh, okay, this will be better if you use round tables with 6 chairs each. And then you can show on screen what that would look like in a venue. Right. Or you can say, oh, okay, you have a large wedding party. What you might want to do is have a long table for the wedding party and maybe a sweetheart table for just you and the groom, so that you can get a little alone time on this day, because I know you're going to be tired with all the interaction. So that's just an example of how you can do live concept mapping. Again, I don't know exactly what you rent for weddings, but that's an example of like table and chair renting for weddings. Okay, real time, I would do this if it were me. So they can present to you problems they're having with gaps and what they're missing for the wedding day or the wedding venue. And you can tell them, if you were them, this is what you would rent to solve those problems. Okay. I'll give you another example. When I had my fairy tale wedding, it was a castle. Okay. And the castle had an interior. The castle was one big room. It had a kitchen on one end and bathrooms on the other end, right? But it was basically a wide open space. And so, and then it had this nice terrace on the outside. So I knew I wanted to get married on the outside and have the reception on the inside. And so I was trying to figure out that if I capped my guests at 100 people, like what should my table and chair situation be for the outside and the inside? Like, do I need to rent 200 chairs? You know what I'm saying? And then the tables, for each of those, or do I have a cocktail party, off to on the terrace as they're moving the chairs from the outside to the inside, right? And so the person told me, if I were you, I would rent the 200 chairs, so that inside the tables are set up, the chairs are set up, and with 100 chairs, and on the outside it's another 100 chairs, even though it's for the same people. So you could definitely do a, if I were you, this is what I would do. Okay. um Live peer review, you can, I would say I would do a live peer review in conjunction with something else. Okay, so something else off of this list, I would do that where I solve the problem, and then I would get brides to be in the audience to also give a peer review in addition to my expert stuff for that one person. Okay. Hot seat, again, put the bride to be in the hot seat. What problems are you having with your venue? Let's solve them live. Fix this. This could be where the people, if they're watching you live, they can put in the comments what their problem is, and you can pick one of those problems and fix it live. Live critiques, a lot of people have, if they have wedding planners, or if they are doing a wedding venue that is a professional venue, they are given like floor maps, right? So they can share a floor map or a blueprint of the space, right? And you can kind of live critique how you would fill that space with rental stuff for however many guests they have. All right. Number 8 is live mistake confession. Um, what I would say is that might not be a good one for you, because this is about hindsight, and brides to be don't really have hindsight yet. They won't have that until they get married, and once they get married, they won't need you. So I don't necessarily would do that unless you do a special session for wedding planners that have to help rent stuff on behalf of brides. Then you could do what are mistakes that you have made, and then let me course correct you as someone that rents wedding stuff. But I would not do that event with brides. I would only do that with wedding planning professionals, or maybe no, I would only do it with wedding party professionals. Okay. Live audience member case study. I love that for you. All you need is a bride that has used your services before, especially one that might have had a horrendous problem that you solved with your rental offerings. So you could do that. Client interview, client panel. That's kind of self-explanatory. You could do a live session where you have past clients on there brides now, and you guys kind of talk about some of the unique things that happened that your rental solved and how it made it better and all of that kind of stuff. So that's how I would walk through each of those strategies if I had wedding rental company. All right, cool beans. Let's see. By the way, Tracy, Dr. LaFera said thank you. And then Dr. LaFerra got a question that I'll come back to. We got Dry Buzz in the audience. Good morning, Yolanda Lattimore. Dry Buzz, good morning, good morning. You are so missed. So living the life said, I like these. Yes, I have YouTube videos that discusses these topics. I could use those as a video, as live mapping. Yes, these are so good. Thank you. You are so welcome, baby. This is what we do on this here live morning show. This morning show is a great example of if I at the end was always trying to sell you my main offer, live selling. Now, one thing I always tell you about at the end is our paid membership. So it really could count as a live selling session every time we have the morning show Monday through Thursday. All right. So Dr. LaFerra had a question. What do you think about me critiquing celebrity issues or those that are trending? I like that as content, right? And I like it if you go live and do it and take questions because we need the engagement for today's strategy. So you would talk about them. What we understand is it being a celebrity is going to draw a crowd to come to you. It's going to catch attention. It's going to be compelling, but also make a part of the session that you ask people questions or allow them to ask you questions or both, right? Now, let me tell y'all something. When you guys are relying on people asking you questions live, I'm going to tell you, unless you are used to having an engaging audience that always talks back to you, always have some kind of frequently asked questions ready as content or questions to ask them to pull out stuff from them. Because sometimes when you just say, ask me anything, don't nobody say nothing. Little Dry Buzz, remember the one time I tried that I would never do again. I came up and I was like, hey, today is about you as me, the expert, asking me anything. And nobody asked a damn thing. And I was stuttering and I didn't know what else to do because I didn't come prepared with any questions. So to prevent that from happening to you, Shawana over here laughing because she was there that day. Crickets. It was, girl, wasn't it crickets? It was crickets. So have a list of frequently asked questions, compelling questions, so that you can discuss those or say, hey, I'm frequently asked this. Does anybody else in the audience have this question? And then see if that gets them to talk. If not, then you can say, hey, I've been asked this before. I've been asked by these types of clients, and this is always my answer, so that it might not be engaging in the end, but you set it up to be engaging. But if they don't engage, baby, I need you to have something going. Um, Also, don't be afraid to close the session or the live or the whatever if you're not getting engagement. Let me tell you how one thing I just recently stopped doing this month is in our group. We used to have collab live where I would go come on and facilitate collaborations within our free business mastermind group. Some people have gotten some collaborations, some people have not. But let me tell you, for that 30 minutes, it is excruciating for me because I'm literally speaking the whole 30 minutes, telling people to put what they need in the comments, trying to help pair people up. And so when people don't show up, all I'm doing is repeating the same thing over and over again. What collab live is, what you need to do, what you put in the comments, and ain't nobody putting in the comments. And I go, hey, we got new people. This is what this is. Baby, I hate it. Okay, I hate it. It was not as engaging as I needed it to be for my time. So guess what happened? I stopped it. I stopped it. I don't do it anymore. So be okay with trying something out, but stopping it if it's not working out. So if you intended on it being engaging and it ends up not being engaging, again, have a backup plan to turn it into content and then get off of there if it's not doing what you needed to do. All right, cool beans. All right, so live selling. This is the QVC and HSN of service-based businesses. How can we live sell? Well, we talked about doing it through education and value. We talked about doing it through edutainment, which is value plus entertaining. And today we talked about being engaging and interactive. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about using analysis for live selling. But do you have any questions, anybody, for the entertainment or edutainment, education or engagement that we've talked about so far. Any questions, any value adds, any aha moments on this live selling things for service-based businesses? Because this is an easy thing for product-based businesses. They've been doing it forever. But for us, it's a little hard because services can be intangible. So we need to be a little more creative. All right. Y'all say I be going too fast, but I'm giving y'all a chance to ask questions. Anybody a question? Cool beans. Let's go into what is happening in our free business mastermind group this week. On tomorrow night is going to be movie club night. Dang, I forgot to put the details in there yesterday. So I'm going to pick a movie. The movie is probably going to be from YouTube so that anybody that doesn't have Netflix will not be excluded. Your job is going to be to watch the movie beforehand, and then we meet at 7 p.m. Eastern time. You take all the business nuggets and notes of how to grow your business that you learned from whatever you watched, and we're going to discuss them. Now, again, if you don't have time to watch the movie or the documentary or whatever I give you a link to, still show up because you will still learn something to grow your business. All right. That is tomorrow night, Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Sunday. This is for the paid membership only. Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we end the 14-day September Goals Momentum Sprint, and we create our October goals on Sunday. This monthly event is responsible for a lot of the forward motion that our paid members have had in their business when they participate in this. So the resources and all of that kind of stuff are available. Go to shaycannon.com/membership if you're interested in joining us. Also, do not forget, next week, no morning show. I'm on birthday vacay all next week. And so I will come back in on October the 6th with the live morning show. Okay? Well, this has been the Her First Six Figures Morning Show, which is more of an interactive coaching and training experience as part of our free business mastermind group that positions Black and brown female online service-based entrepreneurs to generate your first six figures by learning how to make the money and create time freedom. Find out more about me, your host is Shay Cannon, plus get links to resources like how to join the free business mastermind group and how to get the show notes with the strategies in it from today and recent past shows in the description below. Also, if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up, like the episode. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And this is just one video in a 4-video series. So make sure you watch the other videos. And with that, the studio is closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.